everything in your life starts to expand. And that could be in little things. Like, for example, sometimes it's easier to actually look at what's contracting. So for me, it's a really funny thing, and it actually happens to me all the time when I am contracting. That I live in the city of Chicago, and what happens all the time when I'm in contraction mode, I get parking tickets or red light violation tickets or speeding tickets. I know that sounds so funny, but this has actually been the case for about 30 years. That I was like, oh, I'm actually not vibrating and growing and expanding. There's a part of me that's contracting. And so you'll see signs. So for me, it's the fact that those parking tickets just don't show up anymore. Hey everybody, I just wanted to share with you today 7 signs that wealth is actually going to appear in your life. And I know, being a financial advisor, some of you may think that this may be in like hard tactical things that you can actually do to actually create that to be. Now, I'm going to help you here with a concept that many of us have not actually grasped as of yet. We live in a holographic world. And what I mean by that is whatever is occurring outside of yourself is actually only a reflection of what's going on the inside. And I know from a financial perspective, you may be going, so my wealth is actually outside myself because it's money, it's outside of yourself. What does that have to do with my inside? So this is where, if I can help you shift your insides to realize that that's actually what creates what shows up for you externally, then we've really accomplished something. So these 7 signs will show you that despite every day that things continue to go up and down, they expand and they contract, these are the signs that you know you're heading the right direction, no matter how much you feel challenged, or you may want to think that it's not working out when it actually is. It's kind of like your test. Okay, so the first sign is that everything in your life starts to expand. And that could be in little things. Like, for example, sometimes it's easier to actually look at what's contracting. So for me, it's a really funny thing, and it actually happens to me all the time when I am contracting. That I live in the city of Chicago, and what happens all the time when I'm in contraction mode, I get parking tickets or red light violation tickets or speeding tickets. I know that sounds so funny, but this has actually been the case for about 30 years. That I was like, oh, I'm actually not vibrating and growing and expanding. There's a part of me that's contracting. And so you'll see signs. So for me, it's the fact that those parking tickets just don't show up anymore. And trust me, the city of Chicago is financially challenged, so they are very rampant in terms of new ways to generate revenue. And I can tell whether I'm on that vibration or if I'm on the vibration of expansion. So if you start to see things like that, where you're getting some levity to some of the things that are going on, it may come in the form of like, you got a pay raise you didn't expect, or a bonus you didn't expect, or somebody showed up to support you in something when you needed someone to help you with something else. There's all different kinds of expansion that can happen in our lives that actually then results in you being able to create more currency, more flow, and more money into your life, and more wealth. All right, number 2, I want you to choose to be high vibe in the morning. So if you're finding yourself waking up and you're like, oh, another day, I gotta get up. Part of the reason that's happening is perhaps you're actually not in the flow, the circadian rhythm of the earth. Yes, that also has to do with your wealth. Now, we've heard plenty of people out there who talk about the fact that get up, exercise, eat your breakfast that's very lean, no bagels, no donuts, no pancakes. Like, that's for a different reason. We don't realize how that is so tied to the wealth and the prosperity that we're attracting or retracting from our lives. So if you start to find yourself like waking up refreshed and you're starting your day in a happy vibe, this is all something that you can choose from one day to the next of how you wake up and actually start to flow with the circadian rhythm of the earth, because then it allows you to have less internal resistance, less contraction of wanting to then step out into the world, even if you're stepping out in traffic that morning as we commute back to work for some of us these days. And so just remember that if you're starting to choose to get more into that flow and you're feeling refreshed, those are also signs that you're tapping into more wealth and more prosperity. And that layer after layer, day after day of doing that, you actually then are opening yourself to receiving. I know that may sound silly, but it does. It opens you up to receive what the universe would like to get for you, okay? So number 3, every day you feel grounded and you are at peace. You know, I talked about the resistance a little bit before, and you know what? Resistance actually is a sure sign that some pattern or some limiting belief is coming up inside of you that is trying to be released. So how do we move through our resistance? So you are not at peace and feeling resistance because something is trying to leave your system. And the way you do that is you either feel your emotions, take some time to meditate, go walk out in nature. These are things, it could be doing yoga, it could be exercising on a treadmill, it could be running, it could be whatever it is. It might be, for me, I actually love doing puzzles. So that kind of helps me pull out of my resistance and puts me more at peace, because I'm just spending time that's not scheduled to do something or to be somewhere for somebody else. So that's number 3. So you know that the wealth is going to come to you if you're finding yourself to be at more peace and more grounded and more aligned. All right, number 4, that you're content in your physical body. Again, our bodies are way smarter than our minds. And we actually don't realize that there's actually 3 minds in our bodies. Some of the new practitioners these days are talking about it, that there's our actual mind, but then there's the intelligence of the heart, and then it's our gut intelligence. There is so much research out there right now that our gut microbiome sends 10 times, if not more, of the information to our physical brains in how we then interface in the world. But yet we have an obesity issue across not only the United States, but it's slipping around the world because we're not eating whole organic foods and things that are local. We've got a food industry that is providing food that is not necessarily helping us be the most intelligent that we can be, and that is a healthy gut microbiome. All right, so number 5, a sure sign that you are attracting wealth in your life is because of the fact that you are accepting all, and I mean all, that arises in your life. I know that may sound absolutely crazy, but it's so true. Because if you can accept everything that arises in your life, just go, that's interesting, without a trigger and all that other stuff, well then guess what happens? You wind up being able to then be more in the flow. And that's extremely important so that you can keep doing what it is that you want to do, as opposed to being triggered and spending half your day talking about all the stuff that is not what you want to create in your life. And focus on what it is that you do want to create. All right, number 6. Number 6 sign that you are going to be attracting wealth and prosperity in your life is that this lightness about you that I talked about that you're content in your physical shows up in the form of, you're laughing more, you're giggling, you're more in a state of gratitude and happiness and joy, and you're giggling. You're actually having fun, even if you're working or if you're working out. Why is it that you can't have fun? Like, I have a Peloton, and you know what? My treadmill, they have this new instructor on there, He absolutely makes me laugh because he's got an Irish brogue and Murphy's my last name. And he cracks me up when I am working out at 6 o'clock in the morning and he's talking with his Irish brogue. And for some of you out there, you could probably care less about that. But for me, it makes me laugh hysterically. So it gives me that lightness. Okay, and number 7, here it is. What you create, the resistance that you have no longer exists. So what once actually would be something that would create that agita inside of you, you're like, why am I resisting that? Why is it triggering me? Because remember, when you are triggered, something needs to shift inside you. So when you start to recognize going, oh wow, that used to bother me, and guess what? It doesn't really actually bother me anymore. That is also proof that prosperity and wealth is on its way, because you are moving past your unresolved triggers that are in your subconscious mind, and you are ready to move into a whole new life. Thanks for listening. And if there's anything else that I can help you guys with, by all means, go to juliemurphy.com. Let us know, because you know what? I want to help everybody to get to a much healthier and wealthier life.